Willing to die for what I'm living for. And if you didn't get it, go and live some more. I'ma run it up. Gotta get some more, we ain't done enough. Can't fake or imitate. Short grass so no snakes get in the way. John Madden called me, I got the play. In the maze, you gotta find a way. Or make one, living for the future, not yesterday. Wanna be great, do what it takes. Willing to rise for the right reasons. And you can't kick us out cause we not leaving. Bring all my flowers while I'm still breathing. Made a promise every day gon' be my season. Wanna sleep on greatness, better keep dreaming. Hall of Fame need to name this for one reason. I'm a legend. I'm a legend.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Ward Radio live stream. I am your host, Cardinellis. Today I'm joined in the studio by a killer cast, including Brittany the Shadow, as well as Hayden Carroll. Master Mason, Freemason, Mormon Mason.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah, exactly. Who's going to be giving us a free tour of National Treasure. No, I'm just kidding. Going to be giving us the lowdown on Freemasonry and Mormonism. There's all kinds of claims all the time of those that hate the church, and I get these people are never satisfied, and just an absolute bore. But you can't help but look at the parallels of the church and sometimes think that some of their more pejorative claims might carry some water. Dare I say some mortar on a trowel,
yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
So a lot of people say like, oh, Joseph Smith just ripped off the endowment ceremony from Freemasons. And here we've actually got a Freemason here to tell us all about it, where they go right, where they go wrong. And we got Brittany the Shadow here to keep some of the chats, you know? So if you guys have any comments, that are germane to the conversation, anything that you want to say, please make sure that you guys send us a super chat. I see a bunch of members of the channel. Some members here have been here for 33 months as members of the channel. Thank you so much for your contribution, guys. If you want to hit us up, we do our best to try and read all of the super chats on the stream. Brandon Cole is our first, says, I was present at Hayden's Master Mason degree ceremony. He's a smart man. I have enjoyed watching his work and defending the gospel ever since. I don't want to know what you guys had to do together. You know what I'm saying?
We'd have to kill you if we told you.
Do you want to show me on the doll? Just kidding. I'm totally kidding. But anyway, yeah, Brittany's eyes got really big on that one. So anyway, I guess just start out. Tell us about you, about the Masons. Guys, send us all the questions you want. I expect there's going to be a lot of super chats today. Here's your chance. You've got a Mormon Freemason right here who's going to give you the lowdown on who shot JFK. No, I'm just kidding. But he's going to give us the lowdown on all the goodies. Hayden Carroll, go.
Excellent. Yeah, I first want to say thanks, Brandon. Brandon would be he should have been the one sitting in the seat to talk about Masonry. Brandon is in southern Utah in St. George, which is where I was raised. Well, I was initiated as an entered apprentice in Cedar City and passed as a fellow craft in the second degree and raised as a Master Mason. We joined. It was me and I think one other guy in St. George where we did our ceremony together, and I think Brandon was there. Brandon, I don't know if you were the worshipful master at that point. I know that you either were afterwards.
The worshipful master?
The worshipful president, essentially, of the lodge for that calendar
No,
year.
Screw president. The worshipful master. Babe, I'm having the kids call me the worshipful master.
That's right.
Okay.
Just now when they come up, they say, good morning, Daddy. I'll be like, no. I am the worshipful master.
You have to wear a top hat in order to have that.
You know what I'm saying? So, of course, what's the other one that I thought was really, really funny? Come on. They were the KKK.
What?
I found out the other day, I think it was on this podcast, that like their leaders are called Grand Wizards.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I am familiar with that. I just found out that my good best friend, my cousin, that his grandpa was like a member of the KKK or something. Like,
that's a family tree.
Yeah, he's adopted, and so
let's hope so.
His biological grandma or something like that. Josh, if you're in the comments, correct me on that. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. And if he's wrong, correct it hard, bro.
Please do.
I'm feeling uncomfortable. Can I read a super chat?
Yeah, go for it. Save us, babe. Save us.
I don't know how to pronounce this. Curriculum theory?
No, Curriculum theory. Get it? Curriculums and Q-moms?
I have no idea what that is. I don't know.
Okay, well, you're hot. You don't have to.
Okay, I realized Catholic culture was unconsciously diffused into culture when, as a kid, I was scared of Masonry, but don't know why.
Ooh, I know why.
Why?
I have a picture to show you.
Okay, hit it.
Oh, shoot. Now I'm divulging myself.
Okay.
Sorry.
In what?
I had it right here. This one.
Okay, I'm pulling it up. There.
In
boom.
1738, Pope Clement XII said, "You can no longer be a Freemason and a member of the Catholic Church." And I think to this day, actually, they've upheld that where Catholics are not allowed to be part of such a society.
Wow.
I guess we haven't even really talked about what
Yeah, so
Masonry
what?
is.
Yeah, just hit us. What is it, bro?
Yeah, Masonry essentially is it's a men's only. There are women's branches to it, but it's typically a men's only fraternal
Fallen organization
that is focused on leadership opportunities. It's focused on service. It's focused on the
infiltrating governments worldwide in order to maintain control over an elite minority that ends up suppressing the majority in poverty.
We're about service. If I told you that, I'd have to kill you, so I'm not able to talk about that kind of
okay,
stuff. But
okay.
on the other side, the major part of it, and the part that kind of attracted me, other than knowing that early Latter-day Saint church leaders were a part of it.
And where the Constitution is really.
Yeah, I can't tell you that either. Sorry.
Okay.
But I was attracted to the moral development, right? The character development, especially in college, right? When I was part of a college fraternity called Sigma Chi, which actually is the same fraternity that President Nelson was a part of at the U of U, and President Ballard, who passed away.
Were you in
recently.
Owl and Key too?
I wasn't in Owl and Key or Skull and Bones.
Were you in Skull and Bones?
I would
or like
never do that.
The crappy JV version that they had at University of Utah?
No, I wasn't allowed to be in that. But
Okay.
But I was in Sigma Chi, and it was great, and it has Masonic origins. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the 7 founders of Sigma Chi either were Masons or had close tie to Masonry, because a lot of the things we do in Sigma Chi, now that I'm a Freemason, I see, like, Freemasonry's been around longer than Sigma Chi has, and I see those connections there. So, yeah, that's what we are. We basically are an organization that mostly service. Like, for example, you guys know, like, Shriners Hospital?
Yeah.
That's like totally Masonic. Like that's the Shriners. That's the York Rite side of the Masonic degrees, which we can talk about. They're really focused on creating a better society. It's like build better men, build better societies.
Yeah, that's what all of the freaking children's armies in Africa say too. You know, we're just yeah. John DeLynn is like, I'm not anti-Mormon. I don't home wreck for profit. I don't break up families and destroy human relationships. I'm serving the public, creating informed consent. You know, like there wasn't a single Nazi in the Nuremberg trials who admitted to being an anti-Semite. Meanwhile, you guys run around saying, "Oh, we're just building a better kingdom," when in reality, you're hiding all that stuff in the Vatican.
Okay, but wait. I could use the same argument, or a critic of the church could use the same argument for us. We're just building the kingdom, but we got secret temples, don't we, Carter?
Oh, dude, wicked. See, I like it. See, I see what you did there. See, now you turned it in on us,
That's
right?
That's right.
So, anyway, okay, keep going,
listen to
bro.
this.
Yeah.
Stephen Diamond says, unfortunately, I had family leave when they did their endowment because they got offended seeing Mason parallels, and they were Masons.
Ooh, interesting. Okay. I can't speak for other Masons, but having been through the Temple Endowment myself, and having been through at least the 3 Blue Lodge Masonic degrees, which is the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd degrees, as a Master Mason now, the parallels.
So you don't know where the Ark of the Covenant is yet because you're not high enough.
Well, I couldn't tell you even if I knew.
No,
so
okay.
that's going to be my answer for almost everything. No, I will tell you this. The most similar part, because let me back up. Let's talk a little bit about my history with this. When I was in college, I was approached by a friend who said he knew I was hoping to get into church education and was serious about studying gospel topics. And he approached me and said, "Hey, I have a friend who has some gospel questions, and I'm wondering if you would meet with him." and discuss it. And so I said, sure, like I'd love to talk anything about the gospel. So I meet up with this guy, I forget his name, and it's the first time that I come in contact with the CES letter. He has a physical copy, and he says, hey, I read this, I'm struggling with it. He let me borrow it, and he's like, read through this and basically answer my questions.
Who was this again?
It's a friend of a friend in college.
Okay.
I don't know whatever happened to him. I didn't become friends with him necessarily, but in that CES letter, there is a section on Freemasonry. And when I read that, I'm like, oh, shoot, when I was a missionary, I met a Latter-day Saint. It was an older gentleman who was a Freemason. And I remember him telling me, if you want to learn more about it after mission, come back and I'll tell you more about it. I didn't think about it, obviously, much after that or on the mission, but this is my second touch. I had a mission companion, Timber Harward. You know Timber Harward?
Yeah, totally.
He was my mission companion in Erda, Utah.
Shut up.
It was amazing. It was
That's
It was one of the best transfers we ever had.
Yeah, Timber's way rad.
Oh, yeah.
He probably would have been a fun mission comp, dude.
Oh, he was amazing. Honestly, one of the best. And still to this day, just such a solid guy.
Yeah.
He knew a little bit about Freemasonry. He's not a Mason as far as I know to this day still, but he had done more study before the mission and on the mission about Freemasonry. And so I learned about a little bit from him, a little bit from this other guy, and now I'm at college, and I'm like, okay, CS letter is talking about Freemasonry, and it's talking about how Joseph copied the ceremony and all these things, and I'm like, okay, I can study, or I can just go to the lodge, which is like 5 minutes away from where I live. So I call Elder Harward, and I'm like, hey, are you a Freemason? He's like, nope. And I'm like, well, do you know how I can get involved or learn more about it? He's like, to be honest, I would just go call the lodge, like look it up on Google Maps. And so I did that, and I called Terry, the secretary, and I just said, hey, I want to learn more. I'm a college student here at Southern Utah University, and I want to learn more. And he said, come on down. And I went down there and met with them for 6 months every week. And there's kind of a vetting process. In order to petition the lodge to receive your first degree, you have to have a brother who's known you for more than 6 months from that lodge sign your petition. So I didn't know anybody. So I basically hung out with the Freemasons once a week for an hour or two on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think they met.
Dude, that's dedication.
It was cool. It was while I was in college. I had more free time. It was my senior year. Like it actually I was there for 3 years, and it was the end of my second year.
So some guys are trying to get a bump. You know, other guys are thinking how they can consume as much alcohol. They'll freaking beer
for the fraternities.
Yeah, they'll do the enema in the butt to get more drunk if they have to.
That's right.
And you're like, I think I'm going to go to the local lodge and hang out with the Freemasons for 6 months until they maybe accept my ability to try and apply.
Exactly. And just so you know,
you are so weird and so cool at the same time.
It was so much fun. The guys at the Cedar City Lodge, there's probably about 15 active, which is a smaller lodge, and I still pay my dues to them every year. I pay $140 to support the lodge, and then
there's only 15 of them, so they have a functional budget of like.
Yeah, it's not a lot, but they don't need a lot. They own the building, and they do really well.
So what are we gonna do with $1,200 this year?
That's right.
You know
what
I
should say. Let me say this. There was like 15.
Can we steam clean the drapes?
When I was there, they're awesome. When I was there were about 15 guys going, but they had guys like me who were in town for college or other reasons who got initiated or raised with them, and then have moved away and are still paying dues. So they do have more than the 15, but I don't know how many. I can find out for you, but it's enough. And in turn, when I pay my dues, they send me a little card. It looks like a temple recommend, and it has a signature on from the Grand Lodge of Utah, and I sign it, and it lets me get into any lodge in the world if I go around the world. And it's very cool. Like, I'll give you an example. A few years ago, I got an email from the Grand Lodge of Utah, and it said, hello, brethren. We have a brother coming from Brazil. He's getting a surgery done in Utah, and he's going to be here at this time. He doesn't know anybody here. He doesn't have any family. He doesn't have a ride to the doctor. He doesn't have a place to stay, so we need a brother to pick him up from the airport, chauffeur him to the doctor's office, wait for him, pick him up, take him to your house, let him stay at your house, and then take him back the day after or 2 days after back to the airport so he can go back to Brazil. And within like 30 minutes, I got another email, and it said, it's taken care of. Thank you, brethren. And I'm like, it's really cool. It's a worldwide network. It's really awesome, actually.
You know, that was
okay, wait. So what's like, hold on. Okay. Questions. Okay. So like in Relief Society, right, people will say like, oh, who needs to do service versus your so-and-so, right? And it's always like, Okay, like we're gonna
Yeah.
serve her because blessings. What's the Freemason like? Why? What would motivate them to serve that
A
person?
pure love for their brother.
Okay.
Yeah, it's charity, faith, hope, and charity. We're bonded. It's very deep. It's
like good karma. Like it's because it's not like religious, right? It's purely
Okay,
just
it's
brotherhood.
yes, but we do feel accountable to a creator, right?
Okay.
We do feel accountable to a higher power. In order to be a Freemason, you cannot be an atheist.
Okay.
You have to believe in a higher power.
Which, by
Okay.
the way, did you know Lord Baden-Powell said that is the only person that is unfit to lead the youth of this organization?
an atheist?
The only religion that he disallowed was atheism.
Interesting.
Yeah, how interesting. Okay, so babe, catch us up on Super Chats. This is intriguing. I'm loving this.
Okay. Fidget the Crazy says, I'm mainly here to poke fun. Quote, can you tell me about the... Oh, that's right. You can't talk about that.
Here's
Fidget's
what I'll
awesome.
say on that topic, though. Look, when you're asking about taking over the world and the Declaration and all that, like, obviously these people watching this, like our audience, don't know me. Some of them do personally. I don't know if I have any friends watching, but like from the deepest parts of my heart and my integrity, and I say this because. Kind of this fun comment, but also
Is that a Master Mason symbol?
I cannot tell you.
Are you free to speak? Are you doing something now, dog?
I can't. It's a signal.
Are we getting? Whoa! What's going on here, bro?
Here's what I'll say.
I got security cameras.
I often have Latter-day Saints, even close friends of mine, who struggle with me being in this organization. And
Really?
It's because they read about the Gadianton robbers and they read about the secret combinations and they think only the temple should have anything secret, right? Everything else should not be out in the open. Now, that being said, the church has actually approved, not me personally, but they have approved Latter-day Saints to be Freemasons. And I think a couple years ago, they've released a video and they said Latter-day Saints are not prohibited from being Masons, and Masons are not prohibited from being Latter-day Saints.
Okay.
So it's approved. And if President Nelson called me today on my phone, if he called me right now and he's like, Brother Carroll, Hayden, you need to resign from the Freemasons, I would do so immediately. I would literally leave the stream early to go do that because my allegiance is to the gospel of Jesus Christ and the keys
Yeah,
that
that's
he
what you
holds.
say until they say we got the Pope in our crosshairs and we want you to pull the trigger.
Wait, what?
You know what I'm saying?
no,
like,
no.
yeah, I know.
No.
I've seen the movies,
No,
bro.
listen,
You know where the Ark of the Covenant is.
I love the Catholics. My mom is Catholic. All of her family is
You're right. That
Catholics.
was not an endorsement. That
No.
was a Jason Bourne reference. All right. We're not advocating for socio-political or geopolitical violence. You know what I'm saying on this channel? But wow.
So what I was going to say is, pulling it back, right? My allegiance is to the gospel of Jesus Christ. That being said, I do make some oaths in Freemasonry that apparently the church is okay with, that are secret, that I'm not going to tell anybody. That, and going kind of back to what you were saying earlier, like why do we take this so seriously? It has to do with our integrity of the oaths that we've made. Now, if we get into it, we'll talk about Joseph Smith being a Freemason. We'll talk about his last words and how they may have been Masonic in nature. I mean, there's so much here, but in Masonry, regarding things that we can't talk about, it's very similar to the temple: names, signs, tokens, which there are similar.
Okay, cool.
Sorry.
It's all
We
good.
good?
You want me to bump up your volume? I got you, baby.
Me
I
or
got
you?
you. Okay.
Not me, Hayden.
Oh, me.
Oh,
Turn
okay,
me up.
cool.
Testing
Rock on.
1, 2, 3.
So anyway,
You caught me doing some signs. I was awkward.
yeah,
We're just
It's
talking
all
about
good, it's all
signs.
good. So, next super chat. Hit us with the next super chat, babe.
Okay.
Hayden, thanks for your work.
Through the Mist says, Hayden, thanks for your work on Sola Scriptura. I'm going to use your points and references for a conversation tomorrow. W for Hayden.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Fidget the Crazy says, so basically, Masonry is religion's misunderstood, boys-only club stepchild.
Yes, that's
He man, woman
right.
haters.
That's exactly right. And here's how the best way to look at it. The way that Protestants look at you as a Latter-day Saint and all this secret stuff you do in the temple, that's how people look at us as Masons. It's the same thing. I mean, that's the greatest parallel I can give of how we feel sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Mary Lou Howarth says, the only thing I know about the Masons was that I was invited to attend a ceremony with the Rainbow Girls
Oh, yeah.
when I was about 14 or 15 years old.
Rainbow Girl.
I don't know much about that, but the Masons do that particular event. But the Masons are very family oriented, where they do allow families, wives, children to come to particular ceremonies that are not private.
All I just know is there needs to be more Masons because we film a lot in Masonic temples as like rental spaces.
Oh,
You know, there's
Yeah.
I think Masons were a lot bigger in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s because there's a ton of Masonic lodges throughout Los Angeles that like look like the multi-purpose room at your elementary school
Yep.
that has not been revamped and
And-
linoleum's very old.
yes,
And-
a very long time.
I filmed a lot of horror movies in inexpensive Masonic lodges.
It's great.
Because like for $800 you can get, you know, a 3,000, 4,000 square foot room. They move around a couple of symbols and they turn around a couple of like,
sure.
you know, they take janky cloths and like put them on, you know what I'm saying, on a couple of podiums.
Let me speak to that. So if you don't know what he's talking about, okay, back to the similarities of the temple and of the Latter-day Saint temple and Masonry. The biggest similarity, back to that comment about that guy said his family member left or whatever because of the similarities. The similarities are in the methods used to teach. It's a play, right? You know, in the temple we watched the movie, but before they had technology, it was a live session, right? And you'd have actors. It was God the Father and Jesus Christ and Adam and Satan was there. If you've been to a live session in Salt Lake City or in Manta, I guess they don't do them anymore, but the similarities are not in the content, right? The content of the Masonic rituals are about Solomon's temple and about a guy named Hiram Abiff, and there's a whole story behind it. He's an operative Mason, and anyway, I can tell you a little bit about that. In the temple, we're learning about Adam and Eve. We're learning about sacrifice. We're learning about Jesus Christ. Like, Jesus Christ and Adam and Eve are not found in Masonic rituals. Like totally separate. So when we talk about similarities, people are like, oh, it's copied. It's like, it's not copied. I think it's fair to say that Joseph, when he got initiated as a Master Mason, he thought, this is a really good way to teach people. It's symbolic. It's kind of like a parable, right? It only allows people who are ready to learn.
Yeah, well, here's my question. I know that supposedly upon seeing the Masonic order, he said it was an atrophied priesthood.
Okay.
That's what Joseph Smith.
Like an apostate?
Joseph Smith
What's
said
atrophied?
an atrophied priesthood. That's what he said about the Masonic order when he was declared a Mason on the spot by somebody.
Oh, it was the governor or the running up-running governor.
Okay, Masons were an, quote, atrophied priesthood. I'm looking up this quote so I don't totally misspeak and get murdered in my sleep by your brethren.
That's right.
You know, but anyway, so I'll look it up as it's searching here. But so here's my question. Like, where do Masons come from, my man? Like, so what, like, so I know that supposedly there were some Knights Templar digging in Solomon's temple, and then they found the scrolls that had the great secret sauce in them, and then they created their own little order, you know what I'm saying? And the Pope gave them the papal bull, and then now supposedly they're the ones that invented the banking system, and then you're the continuation thereof. Supposedly, I've heard every single cool, sick conspiracy theory. I am friends with Craig Whale. But, yeah, like where does it come from? What are the parallels to Mormonism?
Do you want to know the lore and the legend, or do you want to know the actual practical? When did modern Freemasonry start? Or do you want
Which
both?
is cooler?
I mean, the lore is obviously way cooler.
Okay, give me. Well, no, give me the real story first. Give me the real story.
Okay, the real story is.
Or is this just the crap that they tell you to say to the front-facing public when in reality?
Here's the thing: you'll never know. You will never know because of the nature of the organization.
What if I hang out with you for like 6 months, dude?
I can sign your petition.
Okay, cool.
Would you be okay with that if you did that?
I don't know.
Do you want to
I don't know how to answer that.
I don't know yet. Okay.
So here's the story as far as I understand it, and most Masons that I've talked to, and I went to Boston to visit a friend this last summer, and I went to the Massachusetts Grand Lodge, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, was the first Grand Lodge in the United States, which was really cool. They gave us a tour. It was awesome. And I asked the tour guide, I said, what's your take on where modern Freemasonry is from? And he said the same thing that I also believed. And so it's kind of confirmed to me and other Masons that I've talked to. Most of them believe, and I believe, that modern Freemasonry was probably founded in Europe, I would guess Scotland, in the 1400s. So in the 15th century. And you know what's crazy about that? I don't know.
That's where the Knights Templar escaped
Well,
in their fleet of boats.
Well,
after the Pope on Friday the 13th told them that they were all going to get nuked.
what year was that?
I don't know. What year was it?
I don't look it up.
Okay, when were the Knights Templar? When did the Knights Templar
here's the
fleet
thing.
disappear?
So the whole talk about Solomon's Temple and Knights Templar, as far as I am concerned, it's what's the word? Mythologized. Like we use that.
Here
history.
it is, bro. You ready?
What year is it?
The Knights Templar, as an organized entity, were formally suppressed by Pope Clement V on March 22nd, 1312, and their assets were seized.
Okay.
But the idea of a fleet disappearing, dedicated fleet, King 12. Yeah, so 1312, bro. You said the 14th century.
And it could have been earlier than that. The earliest minutes that we have, like meeting minutes, are written in like a weird Gaelic that were found in Scotland, dated July of 1599, so that's 1600. But as far as I understand, the oldest lodge is called St. Mary's Chapel, Lodge of Edinburgh. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly. Lodge number 1 is at least the 1400s, probably before that. And they were probably meeting privately before that. Now, who started it? And where were they meeting before the lodge building was made? I don't think anyone can answer that question. We just don't have records of it. The oldest record is from 1599.
Satan.
But, well, depends on your view of lots of different things. If you were a Protestant.
The Golem.
Not quite.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gollum was not a Freemason, luckily. So. Okay, so now let's get into the fun part.
Tom Hanks. No, it's all right.
No, not Tom Hanks. What's the other... like weird culty Scientology. Tom Cruise.
Oh, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, Tom Cruise.
Okay, cool. So, okay, well, burn through. You got. I saw cool pictures on your PowerPoint there.
Yeah,
bro.
there's some cool things. I'm trying to figure out the best things for us to look at. I guess I can show you some of this. I'll tell you the lore. You can show this picture.
Okay, cool.
So, basically, Masonry, at least the Masonry that I was initiated into, we'll say in the United States, and I assume around the world, has its origins. The rituals tell stories about the building of Solomon's Temple, right, which is in the ancient world, right, but a long time ago. Ark of the Covenant, you see the cherubims in there, or the angels, I forget what they called them back then. Yeah. But you see the ritualistic matter, you see the pool there, and you see the fire with the burnt sacrifices. I don't consider myself an expert in ancient Judaism, but this is a thing. This has been documented, right? Basically, the idea is Freemasons use the idea of building Solomon's Temple using these tools: the square, plumb, compass, gavel, level, the gauge, which is like a ruler, and the trowel. The idea is that the operative masons, the stone masons who built Solomon's Temple, would use these tools to carve out ashlars or stones that were cut so perfectly. Let me show you. You guys will like this. Here's an example of an ashlar. See how the outsides are rough?
Yeah.
Remember how Joseph said, "I am a rough stone rolling."
Yeah.
You know Richard Bushman's book.
Yeah.
This is what Joseph was referring to.
Whoa.
Masonry teaches that, like those rough stones that were used to, after they were cut into a perfect stone, to be put in Solomon's Temple, we are all, the men in Masonry, Freemasonry, are all rough stones looking to be cut out by the great architect of the world, or of the universe, which is the creator, basically, the higher power. So, using these tools, like they cut the stones into these perfect, and basically the lore is that the stones were cut so perfectly that it was as if the hand of God himself cut the stone to place it into his temple. The operative masons use it to build the temple, but we as Freemasons use these tools to basically teach moral lessons. So each one of these has kind of like a lecture or like a lesson behind it, where we take it and we use it for a moral purpose to implement principles into our lives. So that is at the foundation of Freemasonry, is we use these tools not to build buildings now, which you can. We use it to build our lives so that we can serve a greater purpose in God's plan, in our communities, in our families. Each one of these has a really awesome meaning to it, assigned to it. And that's what going through the degrees is. It's learning more about the tools, about how to perfect your life. That's one of the other reasons I was kind of drawn to Freemasonry. Is it's very gospel-like in its purpose. Now, Freemasonry does not claim authority. It does not claim salvation. You don't need to be a Freemason to gain salvation. It doesn't claim to have scripture. It just says, hey, here are some really good life lessons, and here's a community for you to be a part of to better yourself, your family.
Yeah, hey, here's some really good life lessons. Like, here's how you smuggle, a serum that stops a president's heart, without being detected in his bloodstream by forensics. And, here's how you can pack your own AK-47 bullets under duress if that's all you got,
That's right. We learned all that.
Dude, I know. I've seen the movies.
That's right.
I've seen the movies.
But does this make sense, though? It's basically live your life in a better way, and here's some ideas on how to do that. That's all it is.
Okay, so if that's really all it is, chicken soup for the soul, and kind of a fraternal brotherhood where you get a little cool pass that allows you to cruise around the world. To me, that's too milquetoast to have lasted for 700 years.
There's only 15 people attending in Utah.
Yeah, no. There's something deeper here. There's chicken soup for the soul. Is it going to make it last 700 years?
Underground club.
Yeah.
Hayden's not
See,
telling
I feel like what's going on here. I feel like what's going on here is that I'm in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, and we're just getting the waft from the secret door.
Let me show you.
We're just getting the waft. We haven't opened up and seen all the people chanting, hooga, hooga. You know what I'm saying?
If you would like further light and knowledge, as we say,
okay,
you would need to prove yourself. You would need to enter into an oath.
So the dude with the horns takes my heart out and sacrifices me. What the heck?
Let me show you. Show my screen. Let me show you this. This is just for fun.
Okay.
We'll go through these really quick. I didn't know about all of these, but the first, or not the first, but I always joke that if you use American dollars to pay for things, that you're endorsing Freemasonry, because some of the most notable Freemasons are George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Andrew Jackson. So there's the $1 bill, the $100, and the $20 bill. So you've endorsed it already. The other notable...
So they already took over the U.S. government. That's what
Yes.
you're telling me. Quakey's been saying that for years.
That's right. Yep, and I can't...
Okay.
So here's some of the other notable figures I really think are kind of just fun to know. You guys know who that is?
Yeah, that's Isaac Newton.
Yeah, Isaac Newton. Guess. You want to take a guess on that? He's in
Amadeus.
Music. Nope, he's in music.
Beethoven, Mozart.
Very good.
Okay.
You know him?
I can't see it on the screen because
Thomas.
Oh, whoops! Wait, what did I just do? Dang it! There we go. Oh, Thomas Edison.
Edison.
Evil man.
Okay.
Totally evil prick.
Henry Ford.
Another anti-Semite.
John Wayne.
Another freaking dude that threw half of Hollywood underneath the bus. Total coward that didn't stand up to the McCarthy trials.
Michael Richards.
Kramer, good guy. He's had some bad use of the N-word on stage comedically that should be frowned upon, but he seems to have paid the price for it.
Okay, speaking of, here we go. Shaq.
Now we're talking. See, now we're talking.
Freemason? What?
Yeah, he's a Freemason.
Dude, look at his hands and that basketball.
He's the one taking out hearts.
Like, yeah, dude, like, anything Shaquille O'Neal does is just down with me. So now, dude, hey, can he be the guy I hang out with for 6 months to become a Freemason?
Sure. Yeah, if you know him. Okay, really quick. Here's the other notable. These are Latter-day Saint.
Hey, can you hook it up so that, like, I'm in the car when you got to get picked up from the airport by Shaq?
Sure, I'll do it.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
Okay, here's for the Latter-day Saints. This is really good. Joseph Smith. See these pictures?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Hiram.
Yeah.
Joseph Smith Sr.
Okay.
Heber C. Kimball.
Rock on.
Oliver Cowdery.
Based.
Martin Harris.
Rock on.
Brigham.
Whoop, whoop.
John Taylor. We just talked about him
weirdo.
earlier.
No, I'm just kidding. Keep going.
Wilford Woodruff.
Guy had one too many visions, but I think he's cool.
That's right. And Lorenzo Snow.
So we're paying our tithing.
Here's the thing. Like, for any Latter-day Saint to say, Masonry is not a good thing, I don't know how you can say that and then revere these men as prophets, because they were all unapologetically Freemasons to their death. Like, they never, rescinded their oaths, nothing like that. Brigham Young did have some run-ins, I think, with the non-Latter-day Saint Masons in Utah, where I think he actually put a ban on it for a while.
Who did?
Brigham Young. I'm pretty sure he had a falling out with the worshipful master. I don't know. Maybe Brandon in the comments might be able to tell us. I can't remember the history exactly, but there was a falling out between Brigham and I think the Grand Lodge of Utah for a while. I can't remember. There was like a
you forgot one of the Freemasons.
Oh yeah,
right here.
Yeah,
right here. There's the last one.
That's
right there.
There he is. I know
terrifying.
him. He's a good guy. I know him.
He's a good guy. That's worshipful master of the Temple of Doom, who's just ripped out the heart of a 4th degree initiate.
Oh boy. And with that, do you want to hear some super chats?
Hit it.
Ramblings of a Tired Young Man says, I've considered either joining Freemasonry or
Rastafarianism?
Rosicrucianism.
I don't know what that is. Sorry.
Okay.
Rosicrucianism?
When I find time in a more permanent lifestyle, any advice for potential newcomers?
Just be curious and have an open mind. It's so cool. The rituals, you guys. Like, I love the temple endowment. Don't get me wrong. It's
like sacrificing a goat.
I can't say.
Weird sexual stuff.
Stop it.
No.
I can show you a picture. Can I show you a picture?
Sure.
You can find this on Google, so I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Here's a depiction of one of the degrees.
Okay, right here. Boom.
So you can see the initiate is blindfolded. He has an escort. The right knee is exposed, left shoulder. Very symbolic, the garb. You see the brethren with the aprons on. You see some similarities there. Their aprons represent different things than what ours do, obviously, in the temple. But you see some symbols on the ground.
Yeah.
You see some pillars. You see the square and compass, sun, moon, some other things there. This is, I think, a really good depiction. And I can't say much more than that, but the rituals, you guys, are so cool, especially the 3rd degree. It's amazing. You know that phrase, giving somebody the 3rd degree? That's a Masonic. Phrase.
Really?
Yeah, getting the 3rd degree.
Okay.
So it's just really
like what,
cool.
like a noogie or a swirly in the...
I mean, whatever you want it to be. Yeah, you can just apply it to anything.
Huh. Okay.
So anyway, that's kind of a little depiction of a degree.
Okay. I'm still not sold that it's all just about, a big giant bro hug. And, dude, that wouldn't have survived the purges of the popes.
Oh, okay.
That wouldn't have survived frickin' the wars of the Middle Ages, the plagues.
I don't know how else to describe it other than to say that, like, there's just a bond, like a bond of brotherhood.
Yeah, I got that at my racquetball club.
No. It's different than that. Look, I love the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it has the authority and the means to salvation for all people on the earth, and it has the truth, and President Nelson holds the keys, all that. But our elders' quorums are really lame. If you want to know how to have a good elders' quorum, go talk to a Freemason who's active in his lodge. It's about sharing common values. It's about spending time together. It's about love. I don't know how else to say it. Like there's like the brothers in the Cedar City Lodge that I'm a member of. Like, I haven't even seen them in years, but like when I see pictures of them on Facebook, like there really is like an affinity to them, like in my mind. Like, I really do feel strongly about my relationship with them in a way that I've never felt with my elders quorum, and maybe that's my fault. I'm total. It's
because our elders quorum is afraid to be a good elders quorum because the feminists might get angry.
I'm not going to make a comment about that, but maybe.
It's true, which means it's true.
Why would the feminists be angry if you had a good elders quorum?
Oh, because masculinity bad. Like, it's actually kind of sad in our church, but we've divested from a lot of our fraternal stuff.
Yeah.
Because
art thou a brother or brethren? That's D&C. What's it called? That's what they used to do at the School of the Prophets, and they let them in by ritual.
We've really divested. First off, here's a perfect example. If there were an all men's organization in the United States of America, it would get boycotted to the nth degree, but you can have all women's organizations everywhere.
Yep.
All women's organizations you can have all the time. In fact, girls can be in the Boy Scouts of America. And no, that's just forward thinking and good.
Yeah.
But can boys be in the Girl Scouts of America? Ew, creep. Get out of here, pedophile.
Well, it's like,
so it's literally just, I'm not advocating, by the way, for boys in the Girl Scouts. I'm just saying that it's this slippery slope where it can only ever go one way.
Yeah.
And our church, with its feckless, weak leadership, has really just let our society and our social fabric just tear at the hands of woke scolds that hate it. And one of the first things that goes is fraternity. And it's sad because one of the things that dictates and predicts success most is fraternity. And we just don't have it. Elders Quorum sucks. Like, it just really sucks. And the sad thing is it's the most underfunded. It's the least paid attention to, but it's the most vulnerable. The most vulnerable person statistically is not between young men, old men, young women, and old women or children in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The most vulnerable for suicide is not in Relief Society, it's an Elders Quorum. The most vulnerable for homelessness is not in Elders in Relief Society or in primary, it's in Elders Quorum. The most vulnerable for imprisonment, for work deaths, for all of that, it's all in Elders Quorum. And yet Elders Quorum is that afterthought that's relinquished to the cultural hall or the stage. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And it's absolutely pathetic. Like, the second greatest dereliction of duty of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is its treatment of Elders Quorum behind its neglect of social media for young men.
Do you need a woman to come in and preside over Elders Quorum?
Well, we're a church effectively ran by women. I hate to say it right now, but like Emily Bell Freeman had like the most based anti-feminist talk in last conference. I don't think it's going to be that way forever because it's very interesting. Andrew Clavin has a theory that so far has thus proven true that once women take over leadership in an organization, it's on its decline. And that seems to be what's happened with wokeism in general. Woke is broke here in LA, and I think that's culturally going to spread over the next 5 to 7 years, which means it's going to reach Utah 10 years from now. But I will say that, yeah, they're afraid of the feminists, man. They
okay,
won't.
well, we have a ton of super chats.
Oh, hit all the super chats. Sorry.
Okay. First off, Carden, do you want to welcome Charlene?
Oh, Charlene. Do we have a new member of the Ward Radio Wig-Wam? Let me find it. Oh, Charlene Lundquist. We've received the records of one Charlene Lundquist into the basic celestial kingdom. Welcome to the Ward Radio Wig-Wam. Everybody that would like to welcome Charlene to the Ward Radio Wig-Wam, please put a W in the chat. Next one, babe. Hit it.
Okay, well, hold on, because I just put a W in the chat, so now I have to scroll.
Joshua Martin. Actually, I can read this one.
No, stop. That's my job.
Sorry,
okay,
baby.
Joshua Martin says, as a Boy Scout,
See, that's
I
what feminism
became...
does. It's feminism.
Quiet.
See,
Quiet. Quiet over there.
Did I just get hushed?
Joshua Martin says, as a Boy Scout, I became part of Order of the Arrow.
Oh.
I heard that it was founded by a Mason and adapted Masonic practices. What do you know about it?
Oh, yeah. So my ward, unfortunately, was not very good at perpetuating Eagle Scouts or Boy Scouts at all, unfortunately. We did campouts and stuff. So I never became an Eagle Scout, therefore never became part of the Order of the Arrow. But it's very similar in it has grips. It has oaths. I don't know.
Shut up, dude.
I don't
really?
know. I understand it to be that way. I'm not one, so I could be wrong.
Dude.
But I wouldn't have a problem with it. It's teaching young men to keep promises, prepare them for the temple. I mean, that's even though we're not doing scouts anymore. But
boom,
someone tell us what's bad about making promises to be a better person. Like what's the issue with that?
When they involve international espionage,
Listen,
theft,
listen, Linda,
and assassination,
listen.
then I draw the line.
That's fair.
Okay, cool.
Okay, next one.
You ever seen Sasquatch, bro? Is he real? No.
I can't tell you. He may or may not have attended my.
You know who built the pyramids, dude?
I can't tell you that either.
Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, snap.
Okay, next
Okay,
one.
Roy Anderson says, let him know, Hayden.
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
know what that's.
Roy, it's an old friend, coworker of mine. Roy, how are you? Good to see you.
Nice. Carden, do you want to welcome Matt to the Basic Telestial Ticket?
Ooh, Matt Rabb. Welcome to the Basic Telestial Ticket. Everybody that would like to welcome Matt into the Ward Radio Worship, please put a W in the chat.
Nicely done. Sorry, I'm scrolling. This is annoying.
Dude, should we create...
Okay, here we go.
Okay, wait, can Ward Radio sponsor its own Masonic Lodge?
Oh, yeah. Let's do it. We have to get, you have to charter it and get it approved by the Grand Lodge.
Okay,
of Arizona
tomorrow
or
I'm
California.
chartering a Masonic Lodge
There you go.
where it becomes the Ward Radio Masonic Lodge. Can we literally do that?
Probably. Fulfill the
I
requirements.
will buy land to build a lodge if it can be a Ward Radio Masonic Lodge.
Let's do
Okay.
it.
Well,
And if it's really as cool as you say it is, I'm down.
This could be the lodge right here.
okay. Well, we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, no.
Okay. Matt says, active LDS Mason here. Love being a master Mason and a part of the lodge here in Virginia. I'll sign his petition.
Oh, very cool. I think he was talking about you, Carden.
Carden, you have someone that's going to sign your petition.
Oh,
There you
wait.
go.
Who is this?
Matt Rob,
Yeah.
RAAB.
You said he'd sign my petition?
Yeah.
But you got to go to Virginia. It has to be from the lodge.
Okay, and so he considers our live streams the 6 months enough?
Yes.
You know?
That's true. He has to know you for 6 months.
Okay, you know
I mean,
what?
at that point, I could sign it. So
Yeah,
get in
okay.
line,
Hey,
Matt.
back off. He gets. What are you promising? Hey, is he going to pay for the ticket? No, I just get out. Right. Keep going, man.
Okay. Charlene says, do Masons ever learn how to use a compass and a square?
Yes, but not in a practical way. Remember, the compass and square are meant to build things, right, or make straight lines, or right angles. So I don't know what you mean by that. If you mean use it for our own purposes, yes, but like we don't build things. Like it's all symbolic. It's not. There's no physical labor, nothing like that.
Okay. Josiah Flynn says, who should we trust? A Mason doing the best he can or a Protestant slandering Masons? I'll take the
Oh.
Masons all day.
Yeah, Protestants do not like Freemasons.
Wait, why don't they like Freemasons?
I think they just see it again, kind of like Latter-day Saints sometimes, as like a secret.
Wait, but who's left? If the Catholics have completely disallowed being Freemason, and the Protestants
Yeah.
say no, who's left?
Latter-day
the
Saints.
J-Dubs?
Yeah, Jada, they probably don't like it either, actually.
Really? So
I don't know. It's
who
hard
are
to
most
say.
of your initiates?
For in Utah, where I was initiated, ex-Latter-day Saints, or inactive Latter-day Saints, a lot of them are. Very few active, but a few, but mostly inactive.
Really?
But around the world, that's actually a good question. I never thought about that. I've never had a... Here's the thing. In the lodge, you don't talk religion, you don't talk politics. So I actually don't know most of the... I assume...
Wait, in the lodge you don't talk religion or politics?
Yeah, you just keep it out of your conversations with the brothers because it's too controversial.
With the brothers?
Yeah, with the brethren.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. Bitch.
But it's good. Anyway, yeah.
Josiah Flynn again says, Freemasons are about ritual and service. Love them.
That's right.
Okay, rock on.
Jerry Grover. Hi, Jerry. Jerry says, Joseph Smith Sr. said there were Masonic emblems on top of plates. Compass and square are numbers 10 and 5 in hat.
Do you want to show them this?
Hieratic,
Oh, okay,
Egyptian,
yeah,
Hebrew
yeah.
sacred numbers.
So, yeah, show me what you want to...
Oh,
I got
actually,
your screen up.
you know what? Hold on. Don't get it off that for a second. Let me look. I thought he was talking about something else. Let me show you something. This is going to be kind of controversial because of Jacob Hansen's recent conversation with
He
Alex
has another
O'Connor.
comment. I don't know if this is...
Yeah.
He says, all number date sequences in the characters the document start with these numbers 10 or 15. Mayan numbers have this feature. Jerry, you're too smart for me. I don't know
Yeah.
what all this means, but I'm sure they do.
Okay. Let me actually here. Let me do this really quick before you show this.
Okay. What, you got to get rid of, like, you know,
I don't
the hit list, like the...
Yeah, I can't show you everything.
You know, is
okay.
it like that movie Hitman with skinny dude with a tattoo on the back of his skull?
Not
you
quite.
know?
Okay,
No?
show
Okay.
this.
Okay, here we go.
Here's what I thought he was talking about, but he
Okay.
wasn't. I don't know if when I was on my mission or when I discovered this, but I'm gonna zoom in. Can I zoom in here?
Yeah, zoom in, bro.
Why can't I zoom in? Why is it not
I don't
working?
know, dude.
Huh. Can you see my mouse?
Yeah, I can see your mouth.
Right here. Do you see this?
Yeah, that's totally the compass and the square.
Yeah,
bro.
that's what I don't remember who told me that, but that's what I thought he was talking about. And he wasn't. But anyway, that's what came to my mind. But yeah, there's maybe some things here.
Well, actually, you know what's really funny about that?
What?
Is that's actually a reference to they would have a hand in cupping shape with a giant
Oh yeah.
compass. It's a hieroglyph, right?
Yes.
So that's most likely a representation of hieroglyph on, I can't remember the name of the god, but he's a fertility god, and that's why there's an erection.
Oh, interesting.
Look
Makes-
at that facsimile. Go back to that
Oh,
facsimile.
sure, I just closed it.
Okay, go back to that facsimile.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, hold on. Actually, I can pull it up a little bit here. If you actually twist it upside down, And if you go to Luxor in the Temple of Luxor,
Okay,
the
here it is.
hieroglyph has all these body oils on them from people having to try. The god of fertility always is posed either sitting or standing with a very large erection.
Oh, I see it.
And
Go
you
ahead
can
and show
see,
it now.
yeah, there it is.
Right here, this part?
Yep, that's an erection.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, dude.
Good for him.
Nobody knows. If you don't know what the hieroglyphs are, you just you don't know what it is.
Yeah.
But that's actually a phallus right there in Mormon scripture. Pretty awesome.
Very cool. I like it. Okay. Speaking of like cupping shape, can I show you some other really cool stuff? Or do you want?
Yeah.
How do you want to do super chats?
No, hit it.
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. Here's some really cool. Speaking of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
Okay. Show this.
Rock on.
We haven't always had. What's the word I'm looking for?
Amicable
Yeah.
relationships.
Yes, with the Catholic Church, and now apparently we do, which is really awesome, which I support. But I'd like to show you what I believe. I want to give like a short argument for the origin of the temple and how it actually overlaps with the Catholic Church. And here's what I mean by that. Let me show you this. Here's the Vatican City.
Okay, yeah, rock on.
Right? Here's Peter's Basilica.
Yeah, cool.
Check the symbolism out on this, the shapes.
Yeah,
You have
gotcha.
Square, compass, cross, right? So
Wait, where's the compass? Hold on.
the circle, the middle.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Okay. For us, you put a square in a circle, and you get the symbol that's all over the Salt Lake City Temple.
Yeah.
It's where heaven meets earth, right? It's
Yeah.
the temple. Even in a lot of our temples, not all of them, we have a circular table in the middle, and
Yeah.
surrounded by chairs set up in a square.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
very symbolic, right?
Yeah, rock on.
For Masons, the square and the compass equals the square and the compass with the G in the middle. Now, I want to show some overlap, and I'd like to basically posit that the temple endowment that we have today, even though the presentation has been changed quite a bit, which I think is a good thing, the origins of it are ancient. And I think the Catholic Church, at one point anyway, and maybe still does, has some temple similarities. Take a look at this. Like, what are they wearing? Like, have you guys ever worn something like that? What's the closest temple to you guys?
Los Angeles.
Okay, LA Temple. You go in there.
Well, and the Masonic Lodge that I'm about to put up
That's right.
inside of the Ward Radio Wig-Wam.
That's right. But you look at the clothing. Like, we
Yeah.
have clothing like that. That looks like temple robes.
Yeah,
right?
cool. Rock on.
Kind of
okay.
interesting. Look at the hat. The bishop's wearing
Yeah.
the hat. Here is a really fun thing for those who haven't been through the temple or who have gone through the temple. Here's an ancient Jewish high priest. Look at the hat. Like, you and I have worn that hat. Like,
Okay.
it's very symbolic what we wear in the temple of ancient Judaism, Jewish practice. Now, here's the really cool part I want to show you about the cupping.
Cool. Rock on.
Here is a hieroglyph that was found in the catacombs under Rome.
Wait, a hieroglyph or a mosaic or
Well-
a fresco?
A painting, whatever you want to call it.
Okay, cool.
Hugh Nibley does. What word does he use? It's a painting on a wall.
Okay.
This is an article.
Of the early Christian prayer circles?
Yes.
Yeah, dude, they would be veiled and they would have a coat
Yes.
of many markings, and the
Yes.
markings were,
Yes.
yeah.
And their
based.
hands are in the air. I mean, does that look familiar to anybody?
Yeah,
Veil over the
dude.
face if you're a little older. Like, there
Yeah.
are ancient things. And then look at this.
If you're part of the church before bow to the feminists, yeah.
well, here
Yeah,
is
rock on, digging it.
Here is a sculpture in a cathedral in France, I think it is. And look at all the symbolism, but look at the center of it. It's Jesus Christ. I'm going to zoom in to the center. Look at this.
Dude.
Why is the Catholic Church making art with the Savior making those gestures with his hand? Like,
Because he's Mormon.
well, you know what's crazy about this? As far as I know, Joseph Smith didn't have any contact with Catholics. Like, he wasn't involved in the Catholic conversation. Yet the Catholics are making this stuff.
Wait, what year is this relief done?
Oh, it's old. I actually don't know. I could look
Is
it
that
up for
from
you.
the 1600s, 1700s?
I think it's before that. I think it's way before.
Well, because if you say that the earliest records of a Masonic
Masonic?
Lodge meeting are coming from the 1400s,
I think it was before. This is all before. I'd have to look it up. I
because the
can't
great cathedral building era, wasn't that the 9th, 10th, and 11th centuries?
probably. And I would probably bet that a lot of, if not all of the first Masons in the 1400s were all Catholic. That was before the Reformation. There were no Protestants.
Yeah.
Okay, here's something else really cool.
Cool.
Hugh Nibley, before the rest of us, he discovered all this way before us. Go read Temple of the Cosmos. Look at those figurines. Those are statues.
Yeah.
Look at the hand. Like you talked about the cupping. Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Whoa,
It's cool,
dude.
huh? Isn't that
Yeah.
awesome? Can I zoom into that? Like, look at that. Like, what?
Boom, shakalaka.
And these are found all around the world, in Italy and in France, 2900 BC. Like, that's crazy. Like, Joseph Smith, for those of you who've been endowed, you recognize those things. Like, he didn't know this.
Wait, what's the one on the right? I don't get what the thing on. Oh, is that the ritual embrace? And that's actually
it could
yeah,
be.
no, that's like when you're at the veil. That's
Yeah.
that's all over ancient Egypt too. Actually,
Yeah.
look, check this out.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Huge shout out again to Go and Do Travel. I just got back from Egypt with our boy Bruce Porter, and he's a way cool cat. And one of the big things that he does is go through all of the old temples, showing examples of the Abrahamic covenant, and also of the ritual embrace, he would call it. And it's really interesting in a lot of these murals and mosaics that show judgment. Basically, you're brought to when you die, you're escorted into the afterlife. Horus is often there, or else some of the jackal-headed gods are there. Anubis is there. You know what I'm saying? To escort you to where your heart is weighed against the two feathers, right? And if it's light enough, then you pass into the underworld. If not, you're eaten by the crocodile. And anyway, when you go
Sad
there,
day.
yeah, I'm totally 100% truncating this, and there's Egyptologists that are screaming at the screen right now. But at the end of all these different, and I'm actually going to pull up some papyri where this is actually shown. At the end of all of these different ritual scenes, whether they're painted on papyri or whether they are just scratched into the surface of hieroglyphs on walls, they enter the initiate, for lack of a better term, literally becomes as God, right?
Yes.
Is
Yep.
enter into the presence of God with the promises of strength, increase, posterity, so on and so forth. It sounds literally just like the Abrahamic covenant, right? And anyway, what's so intriguing is they do it in like this two-handed ritual embrace that looks just like your little.
Sorry. Let me go back.
Yeah, it looks just like your little guy on the right there.
Yep.
So while you're talking, I'm going to be pulling up and putting some of these pictures in the Discord. But keep going, my man.
Very
Keep
good.
going.
So let me show you two really other cool things on here.
Hit it.
The next two and the last two that I'll have for you regarding ancient temple symbolism, at least for the Catholic Church.
Yeah.
These two pictures, one is a photocopy of a book, and the other one is an actual photo taken by my friend Alma Allred, who I think he's actually in the stream right now. Alma, if you're here, thank you very much for these resources. This is a book on liturgy, Catholic liturgy of baptism, that he found. He was a administrator at the University of Utah, and he also taught the institute there. And take a look at this. This is, I don't know if they do this anymore, but look at this. The Catholic Church. I sign your forehead in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, that you may be a Christian. I sign your eyes so that you may see the glory of God. I sign your ears. If you've been through the temple, you've heard this before, so that you may hear the voice of the Lord. I sign your nostrils, that you may breathe the fragrance of Christ. I sign your lips, so that you may speak the words of life. I almost said the other one. I sign your heart, so that you may believe the Holy Trinity. Okay, that's the well, we won't talk about that. Yeah. I sign your shoulders, so that you may bear the yoke of Christ's service. I sign your whole body in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Where
is this from?
This is a book found by Alma Allred. I actually don't know the title of it, and I can't remember. I've been trying to look for the title of this. He actually like printed it or like copied it at the library, but he didn't get the title, or something happened. He forgot the title. I can't remember what happened, but I got to find it. But really cool, right?
Yeah.
It's on the chapter of liturgy of baptism. Okay, here's the next coolest part. I think this is the coolest part of the whole thing. Okay. I think it's called Ravenna, Italy. So Alma and his wife Robin, wonderful couple. They kind of served a pseudo mission at the Rome Temple over the last few years. And while they were there, they did a little bit of traveling, and he served his mission there. And anyway, at one point, he went to a place, I think it's a little north of Rome. I think it's called Ravenna, Italy. And he took this picture.
Okay.
Take me off the screen there so they can see that.
Right now. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So at first glance, it looks really cool because it's like the veil. This is like the Latter-day Saint veil, right? But
Yeah.
when you look closer, I'm going to zoom into the left side.
Okay.
What do you see coming up behind the curtains?
What do you see? Oh, the hand.
Hands coming out from, like, why is the Catholic
Dude.
Church producing artwork like this?
Dude.
Like, this is insane, you guys.
Loving it.
And to say that Joseph just made all this up, it's like the Catholic Church had some very pure origins, I believe. And I think they had a lot of the truth and maybe still do. But if their origins are Peter,
Yeah.
and Peter was involved in these types of things, which I think he was. Anyway, that's my Catholic/Egyptian.
Well, dude,
Overview.
here I'm going to be pulling up some of this stuff right here. Let me do.
You want to do some super chats? Are you ready for that?
Well, yeah, we'll do super chats as soon as I just get to this guy right here. So here in let me go to this. Boom. There we go. Ha ha ha. So it's loading right now. But if you go to the Temple of Hatshepsut, all right, beautiful temple, one of my favorites, carved just literally completely into the mountains, totally awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, I mean, look at that right there, just thousands of years old, just statues just hanging out to the left. Yeah, and they just allow people to walk in and, like, it's crazy. You can just, like, touch hieroglyphs. You're not supposed to, you know, but, like, it's right there. And they got like a little teeny bar, you know, that's it. But anyway,
so cool,
you go up to the Temple of Hatshepsut, right? And first things that he points out right here is along these columns. If you zoom in and you look a little bit closer, you see ceremonial representations of what happens to people, you know, as they pass into the afterlife. And let's zoom in on that third column there. When you zoom in, yeah, that's what Bruce Porter at least calls the ritual embrace. And here you've got the God holding the initiate in a very recognizable and interesting way, where both the feet cross.
Yep.
Basically, like at the veil and
fellowship. Yep.
Yep. And let me see if there's another picture that makes it a little bit easier to see. Yeah, and like this is that ritual embrace that he speaks about.
Yep.
And Hugh Nibley wrote about, and so on and so forth.
He discovered all this before any of us.
And yeah, and you look at that and it's like, that's a lot like Homeboy statuette that you were just showing.
Oh yeah, in the Temple in the Cosmos. That's right.
Wow. So this isn't just some kind of 1700s ripoff of George Washington and the Freemasons.
That's right.
This is some archaic stuff.
That's my point. Is a lot of people. Here's the issue: the people who criticize Joseph the most are not the Freemasons. Now I know they had some issues with him when he was in Carthage, I guess, or in Illinois, and they, you know, the mob and all that. We can talk about that. But modern day, even in my own lodge, right? Lots of them Latter-day Saints and Masons, they respect Joseph. There's not this.
Really?
Yes, it's not like. Here's the thing: Masons don't claim to have created any of their symbolism, like the actual things we look at. Like they didn't create the trowel. Like we use it for our own purpose, but we usually borrow from different places. So the fact that Joseph is borrowing symbols even to teach particular divine lessons, it's not a big deal, is what I'm trying to say. Yeah. And I think it's evidence that the Temple Endowment is more ancient than Freemasonry.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm just putting this up here on the screen. Just if you guys ever can, check it out. The Abrahamic Covenant Tour is coming up. They're going to talk about all this kind of stuff. These guys literally do the Gospel on the Nile tour. Talking about all this stuff with Bruce Porter. It's like literally like adult EFY. Boomers. Boomers. You know what I'm saying? If you want somewhere to take your wife, it's an affordable cruise. And it's the Gospel on the Nile. It is the straight up coolest thing you're going to do. Crap, that one's sold out. But you know what? Actually, wait. I got a question. Right now, guys, right now, knowing that you could go check this out, and that you could go check this out and this out and this out. We even go to a papyrus shop where you can buy your own copies of the Ritual Embrace. And I'm going to show you all kinds of cool stuff from Luxor, the pyramids, all these old ancient temples that have all of the lion's couch hieroglyphics on there. They say, Joseph Smith was wrong. They never had the feet separate. That's not like Egyptologists say that's not true. Oh, wait, until we find 17 of them carved into 15 different temples, and they're off the beaten path that nobody knew about until this century or after the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered. And now we get to go see them, take pictures with them, and think, holy smoke. And Bruce Porter, total alpha Chad. Church history guru. I may not agree with every single theory he's got out there. You know what I'm saying? But the dude is, first off, a riot and totally entertaining. The tour is way fun, but it's also spiritual because it really is a chance to get out and see things and touch and feel the ancients right there. It is so cool. I would love to go. If I would literally headline a tour with Go and Do Travel if there were enough people that wanted to go to buy tickets
together
on Gospel Nile. I think it's like $5 or $6K each. It's kind of expensive.
For a week or how many days?
Oh, dude, it's like 10 days.
Oh wow, that's not bad.
Oh, and you're on this riverboat on the Nile. I'm going to be releasing all kinds of cool content here over the next 2 or 3 weeks, just saying what it's like. It is the coolest, funnest experience that you'll ever have, and you go see all of this Gospel on the Nile stuff. Tell me in the chat.
Buy a bracelet.
Oh yeah, I got my
from Egypt.
Yeah, I got my wife
Very cool.
from the Temple of Isis, which
Ooh.
also has the first Holy of Holies that you will see.
Oh, okay.
It's very odd how, and I got to put pictures up in the Discord.
Okay, while you're looking for that, should I do super chats?
I was not planning on doing this, but yes, do a couple super chats. And then, because what I'm going to ask and what I want people to say in the chat is whether or not you would be interested in going and doing a Gospel on the Nile tour in Egypt if I headlined it and was one of the tour guides with Bruce Porter. If you would be interested in that, unfortunately, it's kind of a heavy ticket item. Maybe we'll see if we can't do some kind of cool fundraiser. I've encouraged them to start a 501c3 that sponsors young BYU students and so on and so forth. That might be something available in the future, but it's not available right now. So if you would be interested in doing that and going on a Gospel on the Nile tour with me headlining it, put a yes in the super chat right now. Just simply whether or not that would interest you. And I actually might see if I can make that happen. Brittany. Keep going.
Okay, Fidget the Crazy says his name is Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart.
There you go.
Okay, Fidget, have you seen the movie? I think it's called Amadeus. Have you seen that? Hardly anyone's seen it, but I like that movie.
No.
Luke Hansen says, Hayden, which religious YouTuber would you like to have dinner with? Why, and what would you chat about?
Oh, that is a great question. Religious?
Mm-hmm.
I want to use that term loosely and say our boy Jordan Peterson.
Nice.
And I want to talk to him about the Book of Mormon. I want to talk to him about Mormonism because I don't think he knows a lot about it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an easy one, I think.
Nice. Jeremy Cherpesky says, I know a Mason who got baptized. When he went to the temple the first time, he said everything made so much sense. He felt it was Masonry perfected.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I can endorse that.
Okay.
Masonry perfected. And I think Joseph felt like Masonry kind of prepared the Latter-day Saints to receive the temple endowment because it was similar in its method of presenting itself. And it was kind of cool because they allowed the sisters to be involved, right? It was kind of a big thing that, and maybe that's why some of the Freemasons back then were upset about it because he was initiating women.
Yeah.
And they felt like he was using things from their rituals that were sacred to them, and so they killed them. So anyway, that's another theory we can talk about.
Yep. Jerry Grover says, I tried becoming a Mason when I was young, 1980s. However, at that time, Masons banned Mormons from joining, at least in Intermountain West.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It must have been, they got banned, not the other way around. That sounds right.
Okay.
Why'd they get banned, bro?
I think they had a falling out with Brigham Young. And then it just stayed forever. I forget when the ban was lifted, but
Really?
1978 probably.
Okay. Okay, well, how do you say that again? Curriculum theory?
Curlum.
Curriculum theory? Okay. Reminder to the Ward Radio Discord Elders Quorum, we're watching Master and Commander, The Far Side of the World after this stream. Well, that sounds like a fun time.
Shut up.
Okay.
They got their own activity going on?
Yeah.
Dude, I created a monster. I have no control over the Discord. There's so many disparate groups right now that do so much cool stuff on their own. There's the writers group. There's like the history page. There's the elders court. This is cool. I'm happy. I'm proud. These guys are awesome.
I've never seen Master and Commander, but maybe I need to watch it.
Yeah, no girls allowed.
Okay, fine. You know what? We're watching Mean Girls in the Relief Society Discord chat.
Okay.
You guys have one of those? Very cool.
Yeah. Okay, next super chat. Matt Rabe says, Masonry is like if my elders quorum was completely willing and ready to assist each other fully, but missing the priesthood.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay. All right. Doc says, Ward Radio drinking game. I take a swig of Fresca every time Cardin says woke scolds.
And cry bullies. And cry bullies. Although, Quaker brings up a really good point. I don't think the term woke is worn out. He think it is. I don't think it is. It effectively identified cultural Marxism for what it was, and I think it's going to be a relevant term for a really long time. However, I think that with the defeat of woke and the worst elements of the culturally Marxist left, there's going to start being a lot of contention and problem on the right in our church. Connor Boyack said this as well on Quick Media's show. If you look at a lot of these offshoot groups right now, where are people starting? We've always had, traditionally in my adult life, exits from the church to the left. Because, you don't support gay marriage. Oh, you're not feminist enough. Oh, you're not this. And they're horrible, mean people that make nasty, culturally Marxist arguments. However, just like there's been a woke left, as James Lindsay said, there's kind of a woke right. How do all of the polygamy deniers make their bones? They make their bones with right-wing arguments, saying, look at that vax. Why would a real prophet ask you to take the vax? See what the vax did to your grandma? See what the vax did to your uncle? If you were a prophet, he would have seen that coming. He ended up endorsing evil. The vax was evil, and that's what they're saying. And it's like, oof, that's rough. So I think we're going to be struggling for relevance. And then I actually think it's going to be an odd shift to where the church will be considered left-wing.
I think it already
to
is.
Some of these.
I think it already is in a way.
You think so?
I mean, yeah, compared to what it used to be. It's more left, I would say.
Okay.
I think the orthodoxy holds on to it, in that sense regarding marriage and abortion and things like that. But when it comes to social issues, and I mean, you're the one making kind of the jokes about like bowing down to the feminists. I don't know if I'd say it that way, but sometimes it does seem like that.
I shouldn't say bowing down. I should say groveling and kissing the ring of.
Oh boy.
I think that's a little bit better. Yeah.
But at the same time, though,
being biznatch slapped by Gavin Newsom during COVID. I think that was the correct terminology that I used.
I would
priests of Baal just walking in and saying, "This is our house now, not yours." Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but I would say that
I lived in California during COVID.
Okay,
we got bee slapped.
Okay, yeah. I'm not going to comment on that. But I feel like Latter-day Saint doctrine, I think I wouldn't call it left-leaning by any means, but even just like the doctrine of Heavenly Mother, like show me another religion that tells or shows the woman or encourages the woman to become like divine and have a role.
Yeah.
In that. Now there's debate on what that role is, and anyway, we can talk about that, but I think and you might even say that we are, I don't want to say, again, not left-leaning, but more liberal in our salvation doctrine.
Oh, definitely.
Right, because it's not heaven or hell. Rather, it's, you might go to hell if you reject the Savior, but at least you can come out of it. At least you can enter into a kingdom. So I don't know. It's just hard to say. I wouldn't call it left-leaning by any means, but culturally, I don't know. To be honest, at least in Arizona, I was surprised by how many Latter-day Saints voted for Kamala Harris. Like there was a movement, like Mormons for Kamala or whatever it was.
Yeah, weak sauce betas for their balls back.
I was surprised.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so the next super chat.
Okay, cool. Keep going.
Okay. Through the Mist says, Cardin, I hear you, but it seems as if the brothers in the Elders Quorum are always looking for others to set up stuff for them. Every brother in the Elders Quorum can make change.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Be the change you want to see.
Yeah, and you notice they never say that to any other organization.
That's true.
They never go to the primary and say, we'll be the change sisters. They sure as hell never go to the Relief Society.
No. They go and say, you're good enough.
Well, be the change. You know what I'm saying? Do they go to the old people? No. They shut down our entire church because old people were scared of a respiratory illness that had a 99.9% survival rate.
Okay, but guess what?
They would rather the entire elders quorum lose its job, default on its mortgage, and have all of their children try to self-delete in order to just get out of the house because their school is shut down and they're on lockdown. They would rather do that than try and educate the older people and say, well, look, guys, we understand the media is scaring you a lot, but there's some realities here that should be addressed. We're not going to shut down all of society because, no, BS. They bowed to the boomers. They bowed to the feminists.
Okay, and Darren Lynn, you want to hear what he said?
I gotta say this stuff so they don't call me to be bishop, babe.
Yeah, okay.
Or
good luck.
sacrament talks.
Yeah. I just don't want to be a seminary teacher, so yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. Darren Lynn
I don't
says,
blame
Hayden, I sent you a Facebook message about your last 2 videos. I wondered if the John 10:35 scripture can't be broke verse is an if-then statement,
Yeah.
not an endorsement of the statement by Christ.
Yeah. I'd have to look at that more carefully. Sorry, who was that?
That is Darren Lynn.
Oh, Darren. Okay, I see your message, Darren. I'm going to just say hey so I know that I got it, and I'll go back and respond to it. Thank you.
Brother Cheerio says, I've been thinking about becoming a Freemason for years, but I want to be sure about taking that step. I still don't know. Many lodges in Houston, Texas.
Sorry, I spaced out a little bit as I was reading that Facebook message. Read that one more time
That's
for me.
okay.
Sorry.
Brother Cheerio just wants to be a Freemason. He's been wanting to for years,
Okay.
but's not sure about taking that step.
Oh.
But there's many lodges in Houston, Texas.
Yeah, I would say, here's the thing. At least once when I was in college and I was attending actively, we had one required meeting that we would go to a month. It was like the first or second Thursday or something. It's called our stated meeting. Other than that, if you want to be more involved, you can. And maybe it's based lodge by lodge. You just go talk to them. I mean, there's no commitment, right? You can't even join for 6 months. So go and talk to them and just ask them about it. They'll appreciate it.
All right. LDS response says, symbolism is my love language. Cool.
Nice.
Seth Carroll, do you know him?
That's my cousin.
All
What's up,
right.
Seth?
He says, just a plug for Hayden's grunge band album coming soon. P.S. Adam said, Hayden? More like, hey, dumb.
Oh, yeah, that's his little brother, Adam.
Nice.
What's up, Adam?
All right. Testimony Tim. I have a 4th great-grandfather named William Felshaw, who was a Freemason who was the lead builder on the Kirtland and Nauvoo Temple. He later settled and was the mayor of Fillmore, Utah. Brigham Young.
Good for him. Represent Freemasons. Let's go.
Nice.
There's some good Freemasons.
Dude, we need a revival of Freemasonry and Mormonism because of Ward Radio.
We do. Let's do it.
I will lead that charge with you, dog.
I'm scared.
No, you can be a rainbow girl, it's called, right?
I don't know what that is.
The chick Freemasons.
I don't know what that is, but there's like other like Masonic organizations that are women only.
Oh.
I think one's
I'm going to
called-
see if there's freemasonbabes.com available.
Wow. Okay, well, moving on.
You'll be the first one.
Okay, Jerry Grover. Hello again. He says, I worked inside the Vatican when I was young.
Oh, wow.
Masons borrowed some of the Catholic liturgy, which originated from early church temple. Do
Oh,
a
yeah.
search of Toronto Easter procession to see the aprons. You want to Google that?
Oh, yeah, I can.
Yeah. You look it up, bro.
Sorry,
You
say
look
it
up.
again.
Do a search of Toronto, but it's Taranto
Okay. T.O.
Easter procession
Procession.
to see the aprons.
Oh, okay. Let me look. Images. I see some robes.
What else, bro?
Some red robes here. Let me see if I can get the aprons.
Also, like from your mommy, she says, loving this. Hayden is amazing. I'm pretty sure he gets his intelligence from his mother. Aww.
Oh, warm
Mom.
phases,
That's
warm
cute.
fuzzies, warm fuzzies.
She's so nice.
Cool. Keep going. Keep going.
Luke Hansen says, Hayden, what's your take on exposing the youths to apologetics? Wouldn't it be good to
Ooh.
show them anti-arguments and responses in faithful settings?
Absolutely.
Mm.
I 100% agree with that. And you have to it's kind of a tricky thing because you have to have the right person do it, because if you get someone in there who thinks they know it and they butcher it, it could be very detrimental.
Yeah.
I don't know what the church's stance is on that. Like, for example, as a church employee, I'm very careful in church education about how I go about that. But if I can support it with words of the prophets and scriptures, I may do it. I don't call it apologetics, because we're meant to teach scriptures and words of the prophets and represent the first presidency. But I think there is a skill that could be helpful for the testimonies of the future generation, rising generation, in apologetics. So I'm in full support of it. As far as culturally in the church, I think we should be full force. I think we should be having firesides on teaching youth how to engage with arguments, not for the sake of arguing, but for the sake of saving their faith.
Yeah, and shout out to the BYU Apologetics Club. I actually met 2 young kids at the Heartlander versus Mesoamerican debate that were from the BYU Apologetics Club. And I either gave them my number or else they gave me their number, but I lost it. And I want to start sponsoring pizza parties at the Apologetics Club at BYU. So if you are in the BYU Apologetics Club or you know somebody that is, please have them reach out to Cardin Ellis in the Ward Radio Wig-Wam through the website, and we'll do it. I found the pictures. You want me to burn through the pictures really fast? And
sure, and I actually have to leave.
Okay.
But I'll be back.
Yeah, we'll go pick up Ryder. I get it.
Okay,
I can watch
So
the chat.
no, don't sweat it. I'll read the chat.
Okay.
But yeah, this is what I'm talking about the tours, ladies and gentlemen. It's pretty rad. It's like FSY in Egypt for adults. You know what I'm saying? And it was
That's actually
freaking
really
rad.
cool.
Yeah. Like, no, seriously, that was our whole group on the tour right there. And you have an Egyptian tour guide. And by the way, these Egyptian tour guides, bro, totally based. And you have to have basically a 4-year degree, and you have to pass a test knowing Egyptian history, and your continuing ed. It's only good for 3 years. And every 3 years, you have to be up on all the latest digs, everything they found. Like, when you meet an Egyptian tour guide that's actually licensed by Egypt, you're effectively meeting somebody that's kind of got a master's degree in Egyptology.
So, sorry, these are not Latter-day Saints.
Well, Bruce Porter is a liaison to the members, but the actual guide, and Egypt has all these rules because Egypt's game is ancient Egypt. Mm-hmm. They have an entire police force dedicated just to tourism and antiquities.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's their own police force, and they're watching, making sure you're not videoing. You're allowed to take pictures, but you're not supposed to video different areas. Well, it's actually not that you're not supposed to video. You're allowed to video. What they just don't want is professionals like with CNN, with Newsmax, with...
But just on your phone is fine.
On your phone. With prosumer cameras, basically as long as, it's not too big of a camera and they don't think that you're really just secretly making a music video for MTV in front of the Sphinx.
Yeah.
That'd
be kind of cool, though.
Basically, if you have budget from Fox, they want you paying them for a film permit. If you're just a tourist or it's for social media, which is basically that's what YouTube is, that's what Facebook is, that's what most of the video content I make is, then they really don't care. They just don't want you to making a big deal out of it, right? So anyway, it's pretty rad. Go with the whole group there. Lots of cool guys. You have security the whole time, walking around with machine guns.
What?
Heckler and Koch MP5s.
Wow.
And they wear these suits with an arm sling underneath, and you're locked and loaded everywhere that you go.
Wow.
They don't.
They're with the tour group?
With the tour group.
Oh,
yeah.
That's
your tour
cool.
group. Yeah. And it's actually law that if you're on a long bus ride that's longer than 2 hours, there has to be a deadhead driver.
Oh.
So you have 2 drivers in the bus, and then you have, depending on the size of the group, 2 security guards right there, and one of them has to be locked and loaded.
That's crazy.
Yeah, you've got a submachine gun stacked inside this dude.
On the flip side, sorry, little tangent. Did you run into scammers trying to sell you stuff?
Every single person tried to sell you something.
Okay,
I had a guy. I actually have a video of me buying my son's soccer jersey of Mo Salah, who's a very famous Egyptian soccer player right now. Mm-hmm. Oh, the guy asked me for $160.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, I'll give you 2. We ended up going down to 15. I got it for $15. But he was literally asking 150.
Yeah.
So yeah, and they're actually trying in Egypt to have fixed pricing.
Oh.
They're considering legislation. So some of the larger touristic venues have fixed pricing, just a price tag.
They have to have it, yep.
They'll give you maybe 10% off if you ask for it. That's it. Other places, man, you are wheeling and you're dealing, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I have a whole video. Dude, when you're on this boat, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I got to show you some videos.
Yep.
You get on this big river boat. It's 3 stories tall, just like a cruise ship. Once you're out of the port and you pass by some of these small villages, the kids boat out to you on rowboats.
Wow.
And then they lash to the side of the boat and they have their goods. They like selling towels, tablecloths, things
The
that
little
can,
merchants.
things that can be thrown, and they throw them up to the top of the boat, and then you catch it. And they'll say like $15. You want US? Do you want Egyptian pounds? Do you want euros? You're like, I'm American in English. American dollars. Like, okay, $25. No, I'm not giving you 25. You're full of crap. I'll give you $1. You know what I'm saying? No, fine. For you, 15. 15.
Yeah,
Like,
it's all
no,
barter.
I'll give
It's a
you
game.
2. And if you pay them more than $5, you're getting scammed. But $5, it's cool. I bought Egyptian towels for all my kids.
Nice.
And they totally loved them. So anyway, you do have a chance to go to Egypt and actually see the pyramids, which is sick. You get to go inside, which is totally based. There's Bruce.
Oh.
That's King Tut's actual.
No.
Yeah.
What?
That's his gilded wood throne. And what's interesting is it's covered with, what do you know? Cobras with snakes, seraphim.
Oh, okay.
Cover the whole front and back. There's all kinds of really cool symbolism there. But with the honeybee and with the winged serpent, the whole entire thing is covered. Also, if I'm not mistaken, that's the only representation of Cleopatra. The only
And the whole thing.
right there. This is Dendera, which is the temple that she built. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, there's the weird erection that I was telling you about.
I see
But
it. I
here
see
you
it.
have the separated feet
Which means they're alive.
on the lion couch. Yes, which means they're alive, that people said never happened. Meanwhile, it's there. That's all over Dendera. Then,
Wow.
oh, wait, no, I already did that one. Now we go back down here. Oh, this one's sick. Here's the Temple of Hatshepsut that I was telling you about. All right. And these paintings, dude, 4,000 years old, still on the ceiling.
Wow.
Yeah, can you believe it? And you get to take
They took you up.
an air balloon ride. And if you look right here, right there is the temple where they found the papyri of Abraham or something, like the archaeologist that got the papyri that ended up being the Book of Abraham. The temple is right there. You fly over it.
Okay.
It's closed off, so to see it, you have to go into a hot air balloon. And so if you pay the guy, he'll actually kind of zoom
Take
over
it
there.
over there.
You know, and yeah, you'll get to go see it and stuff like that. Yeah, it's freaking rad. The hot air balloon ride is so epic.
Wow.
And then you go to Luxor, you know, and look, that's just the
That
people.
is
That's Luxor.
crazy.
Yeah, you get to see that. And then they asked me to
There
do a
you
little impromptu speech, so I did that one. Oh yeah, and that was the other person that spoke that day. That was Russell Nelson's daughter that I was telling you about.
Oh, right.
Spitting image, bruh.
That's right. I see him.
Spitting
I
image.
see him.
You know? So yeah, she was super cool. Her husband was super cool. And then you go up, and this is freaking rad, dude. You go up in a riverboat, dude. And you can get the kind that sail or not. That's Preston. He was our videographer. That was the bracelet that I got for Bert at the Temple of Isis. And it sucks because you see all this Christian defacing. The Christians came in, and anything that was human, they chiseled out, like the face right there.
Wow.
You know, anything that was animal-like, though, they didn't touch, which is really interesting. Yeah, they left it. And so this is where you start seeing first the ritual embrace.
Okay.
And this is all according to Bruce Porter. I mean, I'm just an idiot and a layman. But anyway, yeah, it's freaking sick. And this is like the whole entire tour. Oh, and then one of the coolest things is, you know what this is right here? This is the step pyramid, the famous step pyramid.
Okay.
And the step pyramid is
What?
the oldest structure in the world.
In the world.
This is the oldest structure in the world, made by humans. When Abraham came 2,000 years before Christ, or whatever the date was, this thing was already in ruins and 2,500 years old. Think about that. The pyramids were probably in ruins and already ancient ruins themselves by the time Abraham showed up. That's how old the civilization in Egypt is.
Who built them?
Well, so what's really interesting is when you go inside the temple and you read the temple texts of the temple that's adjacent to here, it's literally the endowment ceremony.
What? What do you mean?
It's.
What can you tell us?
It just basically, man must live through life making godlike decisions, and if he does, he will be judged. And God promises, basically, strengthen the marrow and bones and posterity and all that other crap. You know what I shouldn't say crap. You know what I'm saying? But it's like all codified in hieroglyphs right there on the freaking wall.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the heck? And then it says, oh yeah, having been found true and righteous, he's admitted into the presence of the gods where he can stay because he's been good. And like, it's this wild bookend where it's like, how is the oldest temple and the oldest temple texts associated with it and the oldest religion in the world, except for maybe like, something in Sanskrit and in Hindu or something. But how is it that basically one of the oldest religions in the world and their temple ceremony, like basically a bookend of the newest religion in the world and the newest temple ceremony?
Yeah, it goes back to what we were talking about before. The origins of it are ancient.
It's not just a Freemason ripoff.
No.
Right?
Anyone who says that, they just don't know what they're talking about, and they're just parroting what they've heard from their pastor or from some book. Like, they just don't know.
Yeah.
And so they should stop talking about it.
Yes, exactly. So the only thing I want to know, audience, is if you guys would want to come and do a cool gospel on the Nile with me and Bruce Porter.
This whole live stream has been a giant ad for your...
Yeah, no, it has. Like, I want to go back there and bring anybody that can afford it and go, and I will make a fundraiser for the people that freaking can't if I have to. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, obviously there's some limitations to that. I'd bring the whole world if I could. But, like, I want to know because I will pursue this. You know what I'm saying? I will pursue this if I have to. So anyway,
you want to do a super chat?
Yeah, let's go back to the super chats. Yep. Where we are. Active LDS Mason here.
Crandall Logan, I think we're on.
Okay, Jerry Grover, we already did his. Fidget the Crazy already did his. Luke Hansen.
Yeah, we did that
Kurlam Theory. Matt Rab.
We did the one with the apologetic. What's the opinion on apologetics?
Okay, Ward Radio Drinking Game. Gosh, we got so many. Josiah. So we're on Crandall Logan.
Yep.
Carden, does the ward have an address /P.O. box? I have a gift for the rest of the ward, and I would like you to give it out. If yes, I'll send a message on the website. If the address is not public, yeah, send a message on the website. I'll hook you up, bro. Just no ricin. I draw the line at, I draw the line at ricin and illegal drugs. So Kaori says, March 26th, Ether's Elephant and I will do a live stream talking about AI in my book, Nephi's Tabernacle. Rock on. Let's check it out. I can't wait to see it.
Ether's Elephant reached out to me, too. We're also doing a Freemasonry episode here soon, so we'll catch that.
Cool. Great editor. So Josiah Flynn says, I've joined the 3M letter cults in my life, the Marines, the Mormons, and the Mopar. Should I go for 4 here and join the Masons?
Let's go.
Yes. So General Bauer 129 says Freemasonry has always seemed super fascinating. Okay.
It is.
So, okay. Show me more of the cool old stuff of like Freemasonic and Mormon symbols showing up anciently on cathedrals. Burn through these slides that you got, baby.
I showed you the coolest ones here. Let me see if I have any other ones. I saved those for the bulk. I have one here that I am hesitant to share because...
No, share it and then debunk the critiques that the haters have that Mormonism is just a cheap knockoff of Freemasonry.
Okay, here's what I'll show you. Go ahead and show it. I have this in my slide, but I don't know a lot about it.
The Mandalorian was in Mesoamerica?
Here's what happened. I was scrolling on Reddit, like the degen that I can be, and I saw this on... It wasn't on a Latter-day Saint subreddit. It wasn't on anything religious. It was on... I forget.
How do we know it wasn't a guy just holding a scepter because it looks like there was something in his hand and then petting a dog?
Okay, that's what I'm saying. I'm not making any claims here about what this means to the Mayan culture, but look at the dates. minor artifact found in Guatemala, dated 680 to 900 AD. So maybe around the same times as some of these other ancient, I mean, like the Catholic Church. I mean, this is AD, so this is what, 2,000 years ago, over 2,000 years ago. But I just think it's interesting, and maybe we'll see more of this, like symbolism, like the hands. I mean, look at the hands. Like,
Yeah.
it looks familiar to a Latter-day Saint, to an endowed
Yeah.
Latter-day Saint, but I don't know anything about it, but I think it's cool. Other than that, let me see what else I got here. Where is my mouse? I showed you the curtain. I showed you the Temple of Cosmos, temple clothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have
Yeah.
most of it.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Rock on.
Yeah, what else? Anything else you want to do?
No, that's
Freemasonry?
it. So, I mean, we can wrap up here in the next 3 or 4 minutes. If you guys have any last questions, please make sure that you guys send them to us via Super Chat, and
Ooh.
we'll do our best to read them right here on the...
I have one thing we can do while we're waiting for those.
Okay, hit it.
Really quick.
Hit it.
This is, we don't have to read every single one of these, but one of the critiques that Joseph Smith gets for, regarding Freemasonry is that he got initiated as a Master Mason, initiated and passed and raised as a Master Mason on site, you know that.
Yeah.
And then a couple of months later, he introduces the presentation of the Temple Endowment. So a lot of people say, oh, you got into Freemasonry, you saw what they were doing, you liked it, and you stole it, and then you just implemented that in your religion.
No, he was developing the Nauvoo years.
Yes. So can I just show you this little
Yeah, hit it.
timeline?
Because in Nauvoo, he was developing the temple ceremony.
Yeah, really quick. Right.
Okay, hit it.
1830, the church is restored. Immediately, December of that year, Christ is mentioning the temple. Like, the point is that from the beginning of the restoration, the temple and this endowment of power had been part of the conversation. It wasn't like, hey, I got initiated in May and then, a month later we're doing the endowment. Like, this has been in the process of revelation for a long time.
Okay, cool.
He's mentioning the saints being endowed. A couple months later, he encourages them to build a temple in 1831. So remember, Joseph Smith was initiated as a Freemason, I think, in 1843. Well, I think I have the date here in a second.
Okay, cool.
But
Rock
he's
on.
mentioning the endowing the saints with power early on. 1831, he commands them to build the temple in Kirtland, which we now own, which is really cool. The Lord gives detailed instruction to build it. 1834, the saints must receive an endowment of power. This is like close to 10 years before Joseph Smith is a Freemason, and he's receiving revelations about receiving an endowment. So this really strikes down the idea that Joseph just saw it and immediately put it into practice in the church. In 1836, the initiatory is given, the washing and the clothing and the anointing is given to the brethren, and then it's given to all adult members, male and female. In 1836, March, the Lord mentions greater temple blessings to come. In 1836, he's still not a Freemason, and they're forced to leave Kirtland to go to Missouri. Joseph is in Liberty Jail. They're forced to leave by the extermination order. They're eager to build another temple, so a committee was formed. 1840, he suggests, this is just unrelated but kind of cool. He suggests there's a place in the Rocky Mountains that they should go. That's what Brigham did. And then the Lord gives a revelation for Nauvoo in 1841. The construction begins. 1842, here it is. He becomes a Freemason. Then they administer the first ordinance or the first endowment, and then he's killed in 1844. So that all of that is to simply say that anyone who's like, yeah, he just ripped it off within a month, it's this has been in the works for
So what about him screaming the Masonic plea for help at the end here?
I have a little thing on that. You want to look at that?
Yeah, hit it.
I can't tell you too much about this because, I've made a promise to not, but I can show you. I can.
No, I'm just kidding. I get
I know who my real friends are. So here is D&C 135. This is the announcement. I think John Taylor wrote this, and they canonized it. The martyrdom of Joseph and Hiram, shot in Carthage in June 27, 1844, by an armed mob. Hiram, at the bottom, Hiram was shot first and fell calmly, exclaiming, "I'm a dead man." Joseph leaped from the window and was shot dead in the attempt, exclaiming, "Oh Lord, my God." Here's what Heber C. Kimball said about that last line. He was a Freemason. He said, "Masons, it was said, were among even among the mob that murdered Joseph and Hiram in Carthage jail. Joseph, leaping from the fatal window, gave the Masonic signal of distress. The answer to that roar was the roar of his murderers' muskets." So I won't tell you much more than that, but most, I would say people who know about this make the connection that Joseph was trying to call out to his Masonic brothers using a ritualistic call.
Really?
Yeah, and I won't say much more than that, but kind of cool.
Wow, dude. So did they fail him, dude?
They failed him.
So I guess you can't depend on those Masons after all.
Yeah, that's probably right.
All this
Yeah,
fraternity crap you've been talking about the whole time?
My elders quorum, they got my back, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Actually, I think the individual elders quorum would be too. I'm just saying it's the most neglected group in the. Yeah, dude. Brothers help each other out. I think Mormon brothers help. Hey, actually, there's a really good question for you. Here's a comparative question.
Yeah.
What do you think is a tighter bond? Being a bond that you have with a missionary friend you served with, somebody else in your elders quorum, a roommate at BYU, or a Mason you haven't met yet?
Are you asking for like my personal experience with each of those?
Yeah,
or
personal experience. What's the tightest bond of those three? Well, it was four, but
yeah, roommate, mission companion.
Actually, we'll just do binaries right now.
What?
What's a tighter bond? Your average mission companion or your average Freemason buddy?
Ooh. See, that's hard because it's totally dependent on the person. Because like
average is here.
The
average.
Here's the thing. I spent more time with my mission companions. And so maybe if in that sense, maybe I was closer to them. It just depends on what's the nature of the relationship. Like, was it good? Did you spend time together? Did you enjoy it? Did you go through hardships together?
Okay, your best mission buddy and your best Masonic Lodge buddy, which is a tighter bond.
You can't do this to me. Charlie, if you're watching this, I made some great friends when I was in Cedar City. So you know, I don't actively attend a lodge right now in Arizona.
Oh, so you're like an inactive Freemason?
I'm like an inactive, but I still pay money, so they still keep me around.
Oh, okay. Well, that's all our church cares about, too. No, I'm just totally kidding. That is not true, and don't you dare clip me.
It's hard.
All you ex-mo, anti-mo pricks.
I'm not going
to... It's
right.
All the hate watchers like, see, he said it. Even Cornelius knows it. It's true.
Here's the thing. I can't answer that because the bonds are different. Like, I have such a great bond with Timber Harward, with Jordan Burt, with Dalton Boyles. Like, these are Andre Sude, like my mission companions, Jeremy Price. Like, I loved them because we spent so much time together. But I also had some really cool, like...
Yeah, but you didn't lay in a bath of goat's blood.
With them. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And like sprinkle the urine of a coyote on the wall in weird ritualistic ways to like write out satanic verses.
It's hard. It's hard to say. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It just depends.
All right. Babe, any last questions or any last super chats for our Mormon
I don't know where you guys left off.
We cruised through all the super chats.
Oh.
Yeah.
Literally all of them?
Yep,
You read this one about the Buddha and Buddhism?
Oh, maybe I missed that one. All right, hit it, baby, hit it.
Jeremy Trepesky says the temple symbolism is everywhere. Look up the Battersea Park Buddha. Lots of familiar hand placements in Buddhism.
Oh, okay.
Okay, do you got that one, bro?
No, you'd have to tell me again.
Lots
I'm trying
of
to look for
Battersea Park.
When was that?
Buddha.
Is that new? Or is that old?
Okay, hold
That's
on.
the latest one.
Yeah, so yeah, that must just come out in the last 3 minutes.
Oh yeah, I see.
And
Battersea.
you saw Crandall Logan said I won't send.
Oh,
ricin
but fentanyl. He was making a joke about sending a gift to the P.O. box.
Oh, that's funny. That's great. Okay, the London Peace Pagoda is the Battersea Park Buddha.
I'm not confident you guys hit all these super chats. And as keepers of the super chats,
I think we did.
Okay.
Okay, we did. Oh, look at this one. It's right here. Here's the Battersea Park Pagoda Buddha right here. And let me see if I can zoom in a little bit.
The hand placements.
Okay, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's hard to say.
All right, keep going.
Well, that was the last one.
That's it. I think that's
that's the last one. Okay, cool, sweet. All right. Whoo!
I do have one final thing if you want to do it.
Yeah, hit it.
Really
hit it.
quick.
One final thing, yeah.
Here, you can show this. This is my argument, my perspective.
Okay,
right.
of an LDS Freemason. Okay,
yeah,
cool.
so like in the whole presentation, I go over the critics' claims and we kind of went over some of those things. But at the end of the day, here's my position when it comes to Freemasonry for anyone who cares.
Okay.
Premise 1, many aspects of the temple are ancient in their nature. We've talked about that, right? In ancient Egypt or in Catholicism or whatever. Premise 2, remnants of truth can be found in many places. I think that's a standard default position, right? Nobody, even the prophet, has a monopoly on truth. Premise 3, God uses things we are familiar with to help teach us. He teaches truths in a way that he knows we can receive it. In other words, he's going to teach us in our language, as Joseph said. He can only teach us based on our capacity. So he's going to do it in a way that helps us. And 4, the Lord has often used temples for his work and promised modern people temple blessings and endowments of power from the beginning of the restoration. And so in my mind, the way that I view the critics who have a lot to say but don't really know a whole lot, or have read a book and think they're an expert, who have never been through the endowment or never been through the temple or the Masonic rituals, here's my conclusion. I really do believe this. Freemasonry became a catalyst for the early saints receiving what God had in store for them. It contained truth, and Joseph saw the presentation of the Masonic rituals as an effective way to present what the Lord had given him to administer to the saints, the temple endowment. I don't think the temple or the Masonic rituals were necessary, but I think they helped. And I think today you don't have to be a Latter-day, or you don't have to be a Mason to understand the temple endowment. You don't have to be a Mason to be a good person. You don't have to be a Mason for anything, for salvation, nothing
Except
like
for
that.
President of the United States of America.
That's right. If you want to be president, no. But here's the thing. Freemasonry has blessed my life. And like I said, if the church were to say not a good thing, my loyalty stands with Jesus Christ. But I do feel like Freemasonry is a wonderful, positive thing in my experience.
All right, cool. Awesome.
I have a final thing.
Hit it, babe.
Look, I looked up the Battersea Park Buddha.
Yeah.
Look at this. Can you see
Oh,
it?
is that the hand placement? Yeah.
Wait,
Okay,
you got to cover your face. So
I
it's
do
not-
see that. There you go.
Oh, that's a different one than I showed.
Yeah.
You see it? It's kind of glary.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting.
Here's the thing. Like, it's all around the world. Like, if these rituals, if you will, are ancient, maybe they started with Adam and Eve. I mean, I don't know how much I subscribe to Adam and Eve. I believe they're real people, but I don't know about the literal interpretation of the garden scene.
Dude, they were temple initiates. Don't flake, bro. Don't flake like a beta.
I'm okay with that. But like the story in the temple, like when Peter, James, and John come down, I always wondered, like, how could they shake their hands? They didn't have bodies yet. It's like, I think it's symbolic. Like they are representing the Lord's messengers, right?
Look, when you get excommunicated, bro.
Okay, let me ask you a question.
I will advocate for your.
Can I ask you a question? You know, the end of the endowment when they're all looking straight at the camera,
Yeah.
and Eve is like, if we follow the prophet, basically, right, or we keep the commandments, did they actually do that? Did they stare at the camera? Like, of course they didn't. So it has to be symbolic in some sense,
Okay.
right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
So that part
Rock on.
can't be real. Like they didn't look at a camera and be like, "Hey, I'm going to record this for 6,000 years later." Anyway, you get my point.
I
think
do.
It's mostly symbolic.
Can't trust a Mason. So, no, I'm just kidding. I'm totally
I get
kidding.
it. I get it.
So, all right. This is cool. I think there's going to be a resurgence of Freemasonry.
When you charter,
You know what I'm saying? I will charter. I'm not kidding you. Like,
Oh,
that
geez.
is a bucket list item, babe.
Okay.
That's a bucket list item. I'm so glad you came here.
This list is getting mighty long
Yeah.
for bucket list items.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. So, all right, awesome, guys. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This was totally awesome. Hayden, where can people find you if they want to hear and know more, man?
I'm a contributor on Thoughtful Faith, so sometimes I post on there, help with that. Otherwise, I'm in the Thoughtful Saints Facebook group if you want to interact with me.
Okay, cool, awesome. And hey, I talked about him so much already. I might as well just put another shout out for Go and Do Travel on Gospel of the Nile. Super rad time. Let us know in the chat if you guys be interested in cruising with me on one of their next ones. You know, maybe a small group, something intimate, 10, 15. I don't know. We'll find out. And or maybe 25, 30. We'll figure out how many we can get on the boat. We got some really cool videos coming out this week. I'm actually really, really excited for some of the content that we're recording this weekend. So make sure that if you haven't yet, that you have touched the bell icon. And I know there's a lot of people that haven't wanted to sign up for a YouTube account yet, but if you download the app especially, watch on a desktop browser or, on a TV. You're going to get all the alerts of all of our new content that comes out. Sometimes we have surprise streams. Sometimes we have members-only videos, so on and so forth. You're going to get all of those alerts if you actually just subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to make sure you receive a notice for every video. If you don't press that bell icon, you only get notified of occasionally some of our videos. So make sure you press that bell icon. Also, if you can, please consider joining the channel. That little join button you see underneath there allows you to become a member of this channel and get a lot of the early content that we put out for members only. It's also a way of just supporting the channel, and we're really, really grateful when you do. So anyway, it's been real, and it's been fun, and it's been real fun. For this and more, please make sure that you guys check us out at wardradio.com.
I built a rocket in my basement. I'm gonna fly it to the moon. This supersonic is amazing. You're gonna feel my sonic boom. I'm flying higher and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me. We brought the funk into this function. We show up dressing to the nines. Okay. Never need an introduction. No matter what, we're feeling fine. I'm flying high and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. I can't stop. I'm never giving up because I'm way too hot to not be at the top. I can't stop. I'm never giving up because I'm way too hot to not be at the top. I'm flying high and I'm never coming down. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me now. Look at me. Ladies, leave your man at home if he don't treat you like a